So,
Yeah, Deepak.
yeah,
How are you?
I'm good, sir. How are you, sir?
Yeah, great. Fine. Absolutely.
I think there's some lag. I'm good, sir. How are you? So sorry, sir. It was timed at 7 p.m., so it is beginning at the exact time.
Okay, no problem.
Okay. So all of you, welcome to another episode of SHAURYA SMRITI. Today among us we have a living legend. We have with us Col Ganesh Bhat, Sena Medal. He was as a young captain back in 1999. He was the forward observation officer during Op Vijay, and he was with the famous units 13 Jakrif and 2 Naga on the attack of 0.4875, which many considered senior generals like Major General Mohinder Puri considered it to be the strategically the most important peak in Op Vijay. And it's a privilege to have you, sir. And you being the FO, artillery, it lived up to its name, sir. The god of war. They turned the entire, they turned the course of the war. So it's a privilege having you with us today, sir.
Good evening, Deepak. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure being here. And I've known you for many years now. You've written so many books and you're author of so many books. And yeah, nice to interact once again with you.
A pleasure, sir. So, sir, to begin with, sir, I'll take you back 24 years in time. You were a young captain. You were hardly in your, just in your 30s, just completed 20s. A very young captain. And these, news reports were trickling in that our patrols were getting lost. We were getting, our men were getting, overpowered by the enemy fire when we started, going to our post in May, June. So, sir, what was, where were you at that time when all these reports were coming in, and what was the mood like in the unit?
So I was in the counterinsurgency operations, and from there I had gone to Mao near Indore for a course, and we actually started seeing this on the television. In those days, the media had just started getting active actually. We had these reports trickling in, and we were watching that on the television during our course. And by June, in the last week of June, I had the privilege of joining my unit, which was somewhere near Kargil. Yes.
So, sir, tell us about your association with the 13th Jammu and Kashmir Rifles. It's now called the bravest of the brave. They had, two PVCs, like after the Battle of 0.4875. You rubbed shoulders with so many heroes from that unit. Like you had your postmate, Colonel Gurpreet, who was the leading company commander during the assault on 0.4875. So can you tell us a little bit about you and how did you play the defining role in that battle, sir?
Actually, it's all destiny because I was actually slated to go as FO on Tiger Hills. When I joined my unit, which was at Sando Nala near Pandras. So I was actually slated to go with as the FO with on Tiger Hill, but all of a sudden the things changed, and I was told to move with 13 Jack rifles as the FO, and so during the last week of June. I went and married up with the observation post party went and married up with 13 Jack rifles at their location, at their Adam base, and that's how the things started. And we got a briefing from General Joshi. At that time, he was the commanding officer, and he gave us the briefing, and from there we started going for the assault. So I could meet all the officers of 13 Jack rifles at the Adam base itself. Among them were Gurpreet Singh, my postmate. Then we had at that time it was Major Bhaskar, one of the company commanders, and Vikram Batra, of course. And there are many more officers with whom I could interact. Even my battery commander, Major Faujdar at the time, he was with us, and Mishra was the second FO. He was with us, and we all sat together and had a good time before we went in for the assault. Yes.
Like, what was the mood like? Because 13 Jack rifles had come from a victory, a resounding victory at 5140, and then you were entering the battlefield. So, what was the mood like? Like, what was the chat around before going for the attack? Because generally we don't talk about this aspect. We talk about the the final aspect. People don't know about the nervousness or what kind of energy goes around in the camp.
They were very confident. In fact, all the officers and men of 13 Jack Rifles, because we had already captured Tololing by then, and it was coming almost to an end, except for the very crucial, point 4875 was a very crucial battle, actually. So by the time people were very confident, because the artillery had so much of firepower with it, and it was able to destroy so many targets. And now the mood was upbeat. Absolutely, people were very confident, and we were having a good time. In fact, everybody cracking jokes and laughing and all those things. The mood was absolutely upbeat. Yeah.
I've been to that place, sir. I've been to Matayan. From that place you can see the entire ridge line, and I just saw 4875. Like, we, so fortunately or unfortunately, our our vehicles were stopped because there was a landslide. We had visited the Kargil War Memorial in 2019.
Yeah.
The landslide happened exactly at Matayan, and it was at Zozila. They stopped our vehicles at Matayan, and from there I could see that peak 4875 right
Actually,
back.
the rockets were used to fire from Matayan. They were used to fire from Matayan in direct firing role during our assault. We
So, sir,
had the focus firing from Tasgam, and rockets firing from Matayan in the direct firing role. This was the modification which was carried out by Brigadier Lakhvinder Singh, the artillery commander at the time, under General Mohinder Puri. So they had planned it very well. In fact, the people were unable to, the enemy was taken aback, in fact, surprised.
So, sir, I saw
Yeah.
that from Matayan, and that's when I realized the importance. Like, people talk about the importance. It was from Dras to Moscow, 35 kilometers. That entire stretch was covered by the enemy OP who was sitting there. So,
Yes.
sir, like, I would just like to ask you about the main battle now. Because as you told, Brigadier Lakhvinder Singh has introduced that 100, firing on a direct firing role. So, if you could tell us about that and how the battle progressed,
So
and
that
how did
is
you get our infantrymen out of trouble at times? Because sometimes we get pinned down by machine gun fire or something. That's when the
Yeah.
artillery, plays a big role. So, you could tell us about that.
Yeah. So initially, what had happened in the Kargil war was that the artillery support, the firepower was distributed at various places. So the 8th division, which was there, which was inducted, it modified the things, and the 100 guns concept was it came into being at that time, and every target or every hill which we were supposed to capture, it had the full firepower support, full support of the artillery. That's why it was known as 100 guns concept. All the guns of the artillery brigade and whatever was available on ground was firing on the same target. And so our job was, as FOs, was to go and somewhere near the firm base, we could start registering our targets and then carry out the assault. And while carrying out the assault, we had all the guns firing at the targets simultaneously. So that actually gave us good results in the end. And when we were assaulting, there were a lot of casualties because of artillery fire on the enemy. And when we went on top, we could easily identify the targets behind the hill feature, and we could then direct artillery fire onto those targets. And the enemy was totally devastated because of this. And so this thing really mattered a lot during the war. So the artillery fire power made the difference, in fact. Yeah.
For the viewers here who who don't know about the term FO, forward observation officer, if you could tell them a bit, because I know that's a dual role. So you direct artillery fire and you have to fight. You have to command men into battle.
Absolutely. You are there with the leading section, and you have to reach the vantage point, or you have to find a place on top for yourself, so that you are able to direct the artillery fire on the enemy. Accurate artillery fire. At the same time, you have to carry out the assault also. You are in the infantry role also. You have to fight with the enemy, in fact, since you are in the leading section, so you are at times it is hand-to-hand fight also. So when we went on top, there were a lot of the enemy was deployed all over the place, almost a company strength. And we had almost there was a hand-to-hand fight, and a lot of them were pinned down because of our small arms fire also. At the same time, me and my the operator with me, because I had lost the TA, technical assistant, who was injured, so he had to go down. So I had only my operator with me. So both of us, we could find a place near the cliff, at the edge of the cliff, and from there we could direct the artillery fire. We were in direct communication with our guns, and we could ask for the fire support, and we got the fire support immediately. And just before that, when we were around 300-400 meters short of the objective, the entire top portion of the .4875 was blackened by the direct firing artillery. That is Bofors from Tasgam and rockets from Matain. They kept firing on top. And the whole area was blackened because of the devastating fire of the artillery.
So what are the challenges generally a forward observation officer faces, especially in mountain warfare? So because this, dislodging enemy at such a height was a new thing for the at 17,000 feet, 2 months continuously there was battle. So what are the challenges which a forward observation officer faces in the mountain warfare?
See, firstly, he has to adjust himself with the infantry. He has to go and get attached to the infantry, and from there, the association begins with the infantry, because we are from the artillery, so we have to go and get ourselves adjusted with the infantry, and then move ahead. And we are in the leading section as a forward observation officer. You are with the leading section, so you have to be ahead, and you are in direct, at the same time you are in communication on your radio set with your guns also, so that whatever targets are there suddenly crop up, on-call targets are there, you can always ask the fire support or the guns to fire on those targets cropping up suddenly. That is one thing. Secondly, when you go you start climbing, you come to a place from where you can see the different targets on top very clearly, so that you can register those targets. So that is another challenge you have to, because mountains you don't have, you're all in the open. The only place where you can feel safe is just behind some stones or rocks. Okay, otherwise you are totally exposed. So that is another challenge, to keep yourself hidden somewhere so that you can see the targets and then register those targets and then keep moving ahead. And the biggest challenge is the snipers of the enemy, which are targeting you. They can easily see you and start firing at you. When you come very close to the target or very close to the enemy, the snipers are very effective, and they were effective during our assault. So there was many casualties because of the enemy snipers. So that is another challenge which we had faced. We had to keep ourselves, under some kind of cover and not to get exposed. And what happened was that when we were assaulting during the night. Again, the sun came out in the morning, and so it was not easy to keep moving ahead without being discovered by the enemy. Of course, and enemy also had their own OP, their observation officers. They had their, snipers all across. So it was a very challenging task for us. And when you went on top, you had to face the enemy directly. There was no other way out. And at the same time, for an forward observation officer, he needs a vantage point. He needs a point from where he can see the enemy behind the hill feature or the mountain, and see where exactly the enemy is located, and then work out the grid reference of that particular uh, target and pass it on to the guns, so that the guns will fire on those targets, and you can correct your the fire and exactly get it onto the target. So that was the challenge. Yes.
Sir, do you recall any moment in which the our infantry was pinned down during that battle of 4,875, and you had to
Oh yes. Oh
come in
yes.
and
What happened was actually my postmate Gurpreet Singh, his radio set was missing, and we were around say around 400 500 meters probably short of the objective. So he had to use my operator's radio set and pass on the information to his commanding officer. That was one incident which I could, and from there we thought that we had already reached the objective. However, my operator, he suddenly found that it was just a false crest, and the objective was much ahead. So we had to actually spend many hours after that to reach the top, and we were pinned down short of the objective, say around 200 300 meters short of the objective, for many hours together without food and water. We had to lie on all fours because the snipers were quite effective. The enemy was able to find where exactly we were, and they started firing very heavily onto us. So that was a big challenge for us. Yes.
So, sir, just wanted to ask you on a personal level, sir, like you were newly married at that time, and what goes on in a soldier's mind, in an officer's mind, when he knows he had to lead men to certain death, and return is not guaranteed on those battlefields. So what goes on when you're in like I'm sure so many people tell that when the first bullet is fired, you forget everything. But I'll just like to ask you something that when you're climbing or before climbing, for that matter, when you're sitting in solitude, like before a few hours before the assault. So what exactly runs in a mind of an officer, a young officer?
Actually, see, what happens is all these things it doesn't come in our mind, because the main focus is on what we are doing at that time. At that time, we were being briefed by the commanding officer. We were interacting with the other officers. We were interacting with our men around us. We were motivating our men because we had to take them along with us. We had to lead them into the battle. So all these things were going on at the back of our mind. There was nothing which actually related us to our homes at that time, because if we had focused or divided our attention, one towards the battle and the other towards the home front, then the things wouldn't have materialized. We had to just focus purely on the battle ahead, and those such kind of feelings never came to me, and obviously the others also. But once we captured the feature, and we were now, after 13 Jack rifles had to marry up with second Naga. So once we captured the feature as a whole, complete feature was captured. Maybe after a few days, I started, remembering, okay, there are folks back home also who must be worried, and more worried, or than me, and they must be waiting to talk to me. And actually, I really couldn't talk to them for months actually. And only on top, there was one team of 9 paras which happened to be patrolling in that particular area after the battle, many days after the battle, and they were carrying a set, and I could speak to my wife on that with the help of that set after many days after the battle. And incidentally, my anniversary, the marriage anniversary was on 7th of July, is on 7th of July. And yeah, and my wife's birthday is on 6th of July. So, and my birthday is on 27th of July,
So you were
which
in the
is just
midst of
one day
battle, sir.
after, one day after the Kargil day. Yeah. So
In the midst of
everything
battle.
was, it was just a coincidence, just what I wanted to share with you. And so no such feelings, everything was basically focused more on the battle rather than your family or, and actually in that time my wife was on the family way and my daughter was born in on September 27th in 1999 only. We used to call her Kargil baby and all those things. So yeah, so those were the days, and really I didn't have any such feelings other than what was going on over there. Yeah.
7 July is, a historic day in many terms. Like we won back 4-8 and 5. We won back, Tiger Hill, but we lost many of our brave included Captain Vikram Batra, who was, with you in that. How do you remember that? And that time, sir, from 6 July midnight till 7 July, you were with him, like 10 odd meters from the enemy, 10-20 meters from the enemy, and the firefight was going on. So could you recall, sir? He was a young officer, quite young too. He was just 24 at that time. And do you
Yes.
recall seeing him for the last time? Because before I remember you telling me that before you left to marry up with the Nagas, that's the last time you saw him physically. So
Yes.
could you tell us that what was it like when you heard about it on the radio, and what
Oh
was
yeah,
it?
it was a very sad feeling when I heard that he's no more. But yes, before that, of course, he was full of josh, and obviously there were few men left, and by the time Navin Nagappa, who was the 2IC of the assaulting company with us, he was badly injured and he had to be evacuated because of a grenade which was thrown very close to us, and he got injured. And thereafter, Vikram Batra was, he wanted, with a few of the men with him, he wanted to, wipe out the enemy completely from that particular place. But yes, that was the last time when I could actually see him physically. And me and my observation, that is the operator with me, Satrajit Pandey. So both of us, we had to move to second Naga because we got a call from down below that I was now assigned as FO with second Naga. So I had to move immediately and join the second Naga battalion in their firm base. So yeah, so what I remember of Vikram Batra at that time was that yes, he was very energetic, full of josh, and wanted to finish off the things very quickly. So that was the last what I could remember of him. Yes.
So you have seen death at close quarters, like literally, because Captain Nagappa, I'm sure he would have been hardly 5 yards, 5 to 10 yards away from you when when he was injured, and many people you saw them dying in front of your eyes. And so how did you pep up your operator, sir, who was with you, the RT party, the others?
Oh,
So
he was. If you, I can recollect things as if it has happened yesterday only. And this gentleman, Satrajit Pandey, my operator, he was absolutely fantastic. In fact, there was not a second where I could feel that okay, uh, he's tired or something, and he's unable to carry forward or go forward. He was completely full of josh, and he was with me all the time. And he used to keep telling me about the location of the enemy and all those things. And he used to assist me like as if he was a technical assistant, although his job was not of the technical assistant, who was no longer with me because he was evacuated. But this gentleman was able to do both the roles of an operator as well as the technical assistant, and he was absolutely fantastic. He used to tell me exactly where the enemy was and all those things, and helped me a lot. And this gentleman was there throughout with me, even in the assaults of second Naga until the end. And we both came down from the future only in the month of August, when things were absolutely normal, and there was no more requirement of us being, with the second Naga. So that is the time when we both came down. So
When when
we had to
you
join our unit, which was down below. Yes.
so sir, when you left 13 Zakrif, most of the feature was taken. The remaining was taken by Vikram Batra and his, and his team. Then after that, you were sent to Naga, and that's another fresh assault. Like you were you
Absolutely.
were, you were in continuous battle for 3 days, from 4th, 5th, 6th, and 4 days,
Absolutely.
and then you
Yeah.
sent to join the second Naga to attack another feature, Twin Bums.
Absolutely.
Can you tell us about that, sir? Can you tell us about that battle and how did that progress?
So that went as per plans. Only thing that happened was that we were in the reserve company.
Mhm.
I was with Sherawat. Sherawat was the company commander, and but the enemy was there on top at the reverse, on the reverse slope, and behind the feature, and we had to attack them from that side, that is the reverse side. And the company which was assaulting, we caught up with them because they were stuck on top, because there was heavy firing, exchange of fire that was going on. In the bargain, unfortunately, we lost Jerry Premraj, who was the observation officer with the assaulting company. So we were actually just behind the assaulting company, because of the heavy exchange of fire. We just caught up with them, and now we were involved again, with the enemy, with the hand-to-hand fight and all those things. And yeah, so there was a proper battle which was going on. And like I told you, we unfortunately lost Jerry Premraj. This body was evacuated from there. And then, yes, and after many hours of fighting, the our battalion, that second Naga, could capture the entire feature. Yes. Yeah. Some part of it was left, the rocky knob, etc., was left, which we assaulted again. But by the time the enemy started fleeing from that place, in fact, there was a gun area consisting of three 81 mm mortars and three 120 mm mortars, which was raided by second Naga, and all the guns were captured, and the enemy was just fleeing off from that place towards Gultani Nala. Yes, Gultani Nala, and much ahead towards Kardu. So they were all now retreating. And because this was the main battle which had happened with 17 Jack, 13 Jack rifles and second Naga all together. So this was the main feature which was captured. And after that, I don't think so the enemy had any wherewithal or anything left with them to counter us. Yes.
Now, coming back to that importance of 4875, sir, like the artillery officers, the forward observation officers, you got the Sena medal, Major Fauzdar got the Sena medal. We had Captain Gildial, who was with Satrajat, he got Veer Chakra. Jerry Premraj got a Veer Chakra. So that shows the importance of that peak and also the role of the forward observation officers. So just a small word on Jerry Premraj, sir, if any association with him and what kind of a personality was it? Because he had cut short his honeymoon to join the unit, to join the battle.
Oh yeah, Jerry Premraj, very brief interaction, because by the time I joined the battle with second Naga from 13 Jack rifles, there was hardly any time left before the assaulting company went into the attack. So it was a very brief interaction with him. He was a very young person, very young lad. Recently he had got married, and I think it was only 6 months or so. I believe he had got married. Although I didn't know at that time while meeting him. It was a very short and brief interaction. He was again full of josh, and he was very highly energetic, and everything he had a complete set of his observation post party and all OP party, full contingent, that is the operator as well as the technical assistant along with him. So he was well equipped, and he was actually, waiting for the final orders and all those. So that was the time when I just met him very briefly. But I believe that when he was on top, we were just behind these people. So I couldn't see what happened with him, but what I heard that he was trying to get to a position from where he could see the enemy. So while doing so, he got shot, and that's how he got martyred. So that was the last, probably interaction with him. Yeah.
You were, recycled. You were recycled thrice. You were with 13 Zach, were sent with 2 Naga, and then you were with another unit, and you came down in August. So it is good about 1.5, 2 months you were there on the top. And
Yes.
so, sir, I'm sure you would have been thrilled because any young officer looks for action, and you got it for 1 month, 1.5 months.
Absolutely, it's a lifetime experience. I never expected that. Although I had a couple of stints in the counterinsurgency operations, but counterinsurgency operations and conventional operations are totally different. Conventional operations, you have to fight the enemy. You see the enemy face to face, and in mountains it becomes much more difficult. Well, because you are climbing, in case you want to take over some objective or capture some objective, you have to literally climb to the top. So it is not very easy. It's not like planes or something where the going is easy. But here in mountains, you literally have to climb up and face the enemy. So yes, and that experience, I don't think so it will ever come back to me again in my life. The lifetime experience. And yeah, I'm very, very happy and thrilled. In fact, now I feel as if I'm still in the battle with the yeah, anyway, yes.
So it's now 24 years to Kargil, and the entire generation has grown up. Your daughter is now 24, like she was born after the war, and an entire generation has grown up. Now that place is a tourist place. Like people, when they go to Leh and when they're on the way to Srinagar, they stop over, they click pics with the pics in the background, like just what I did 4 years back. So I'd just like to ask you, sir, what's the message you'd like to give to the youth of this nation? How should we remember the Kargil War and its heroes?
Well, one message I would like to give to the youngsters is that yes, uh, whatever task is there with you, first, try and analyze everything, study everything, make sure everything is in place, and then take the final, action or whatever you need to do, because you have to be doubly sure about what exactly is going to happen. That's what happened in Kargil when, initially we didn't know exactly where the enemy is, what is happening. Slowly we started, gathering information and all those things, and getting the equipment in place, and then we started. So what I would like to give the youngsters a message is that they should study, analyze, and then take action. Okay, and not take any action in a hurry. That is one thing. And yes, motivated. I have been able to motivate a lot of youngsters. I'm an instructor in OTA in Chennai. And yes, I always, whenever I get chance, I always speak to the youngsters. And I see that every youngster is actually ready to, express himself, wanting to, go into some action, do some action. And just sharing with you that my son is going to join OTA Gaya on 1st of July. And yeah, he also got motivated because of me and other uh, officers, after seeing other officers also, and meeting others also who were in the battle. Yeah, so good that we are able to contribute something to all the youngsters. Yes.
That's really fantastic news, sir. Like he might be just 20, sir, 22 currently.
Yeah, he's he was born in 2004, so he's just 18 years. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Wow. So he's
Yeah,
going.
so he's joining the technical entry scheme.
Okay, okay.
And yeah, so he will do his basic military training for 1 year at Gaya, OTA Gaya. and thereafter CTW in one of the
Joining next
places.
month, sir? Next month?
Sorry,
Next
sorry.
month, sir? He's joining next month?
No, he's just next month, 1st of July. After a
First of-
few days,
Okay.
couple of days only. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Gonna be
So
fantastic.
July is actually a lucky month.
Such a good thing to hear, sir, at the end of this. So with us we have Julie Sharma, sir. So she belongs to Noida, and
Jain sir.
Jan. Yeah.
so she's been a very active, you can tell that she's the glue of that entire, we have a volunteers group there in Noida, Gurgaon, Ghaziabad, Faridabad, Delhi. So she is the one who is the energizer, the Josh type in that entire group, organizing things, meeting martyr families, going and meeting our brave hearts, living legends. And she works for Amazon, but I don't know how in such a tight schedule she finds time to, that's her passion. As I've always told that Julie's first love is the army, then comes Amazon and the others. So I just wanted to introduce you to her because she does it all this unconditionally, sir, without anything in return. Like I still recall I had my book launch 5 months back in Delhi. So she was there everywhere and telling, Bhaiya, kuch nahi ho jayega sab, don't worry. And matlab, he has so much love for the force that, even on her car, she has that picture of, Anuj Nair, and that Vijayan Thapar today is, the martyrdom day of Captain Thapar, Major Acharya, and Captain Kangaroos. So she's,
Kangaroos, yeah.
so she's all around it, sir. So just wanted you to introduce you to her.
Very nice, very nice. Nice talking to you, Julie. Welcome, and it's very heartening to know that there are so many people like you, who are very keen, to learn about the armed forces, what all they carry out, what all tasks they carry out, and all. That's very, very heartening to know. Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose ma'am is there, sir. Ma'am is around.
Yeah. I think I just call her, and she's very much here. She would also like to join here. Vijay, come. And just yeah, she is there, and she was there during the war at Jaipur with my father-in-law and mother-in-law, and yes.
Hello, ma'am.
Can you see her?
And now I can see her. Hi, ma'am.
Yeah.
Jain.
Hi, Jay, how are you?
I'm good, ma'am. And first of all, many congratulations. Sir just told us that your son is joining the OTA Gaya. Many congratulations. ma'am.
Thank you. Blessings from all people like you. Thank you so much.
Feel very happy, ma'am, because the second generation, when it passes on that legacy, it's very good to
Right.
know.
Yes.
And so, ma'am, now coming back to Kargil, like going back now, I'd like to ask you, ma'am, you were expecting, you're on the family way, as sir told, and he was in the midst of war, and that time we did not have these mobile phones that you have daily updates. All you
Right.
had was the newspapers and the TV. In TV there are all kinds of news coming that we lost so and so officer, so and so Jawan during that. So how was the mood like at home, ma'am? Like I'm sure it would have been a living hell. Like many of them have told me that, because there are everything trickling in, all sorts of rumors. So
Yeah.
could you elaborate on those times, ma'am? What happened?
See, first of all, now when I look back and when I go back, things were, we were taking, it was a very surprising thing and very shocking thing for me as a person of an army officer. I was staying with my parents, and my father being an army officer again, he was a retired army officer. So he was quietly keeping a track of, his son-in-law, and not disclosing it to any one of us. Yes, the mahal in the house was very tensed, because those days that was the first war which was so highlighted by the media. So he never used to switch on the television, as such, because it was very clearly shown on the television. So he would, try not to open the television and put the news and things like that. And he would try to make things very, normal, taking me for a walk and things like that. But at the back of the mind, we were not talking much to each other in the house, my mother, my brother, my sister, because everybody knew, that things are not very, very, safe and not very nice. So there was a lot of tension. When I look back, I feel that I don't know how we passed all those days. It was not easy. It was not easy at all. Yes.
So, ma'am, what's the strength of, what's the source of strength and, courage it takes for an army wife when you know that your man is at the border? He's, life is very uncertain at those places. So what's your source of strength and inspiration, ma'am?
The main source of inspiration is the husband in himself, because you know that the man is there fighting for the country. So the man who is given his oath as an army officer or as a army man, the wife already knows that she has to support him in thick and thin. So you are trying to be very brave, although from heart to heart you are you are very scared, because ultimately you are a human at the end of the day. But when you keep keep things in the heart that no, your man is going to be fine, he's fighting, so at least little support what you can give is pray to God hard, and let the God hear it loud and clear that the man has to come back, like that. So the man himself is a big motivation.
So, ma'am, sir told me that many days after the battle, when he was at the peak, he called you back from a set from the paras. He had taken a borrowed a
Yes.
set. So, ma'am, I know you'll fall short of words to explain, but what was your first, emotion when you heard his voice on the other end?
I cried a lot. I cried a lot, Deepak, because we were waiting for his call for a long time, and you can understand, I was, due with my first baby, and those days, things were not very. Nowadays, girls are having babies little later. We were very young. I was very young, and the media had highlighted it so much, so we were waiting very desperately, heart to heart. The first reaction was I cried a lot, and he was repeatedly telling me, "Don't cry, I don't have time. Speak to me. Say yes, I don't have time. The minutes are passing. I have to hand over the set to back to the person. So speak, speak, speak." It was very emotional kind of a thing. When I'm talking to you now, also I'm recollecting. Not an easy thing, because you're scared all the while. You're very scared. Yes.
And the first time you saw him, ma'am, like after he came back, all that entire I have people tell me that once a man is back from the war, all pura matlab he's fully tanned, and that wind lashes and all that, all sorts of things. So how do you recall that moment, ma'am?
I saw him in the railway station. He was getting down off the train, because those days trains were the only popular things to come and go. I hated him. I hated him for a minute. I hated him so much, because you loved him so much that you what we went through, as a family, my in-laws, my parents, and my relatives, and myself, and the baby. So it was like, a mixed kind of feeling. You wanted to hit him also, at the same time you wanted to hug him also. So it was all mixed kind of emotions. But as a mature person, you try to be calm and composed. And the first word he said was hello, because my father was around, and the first word was hello. So you don't know how to react to that very silly hello. So I also said hello. And those days, we were as a family, parents were, you were not so open with the emotions in front of the parents. Although I, being a Fauji kid, still we had that kind of a thing at home.
Ma'am, now it's 24 years, life has come a full circle. Your daughter who was born, who's called the Kargil baby, now she's 24, and your son is on the verge of joining the OTA. So now how do you express this feeling, ma'am? Because I'm sure if you 24 years would have passed by in a blink. Like I asked my parents, "Ki, how did your period go?" They told it went very fast. So for you now, your son is ready to join, take over his dad's legacy. So how would you describe in words, ma'am?
Deepak, I'm a very, very proud army officer's wife. I don't know. I feel that nobody can be more prouder than me in the whole world. Being a army officer's wife who has fought a war, and a man who joins army, dreams of fighting a war. I'm sure every man must be doing that. So that kind of a thing, I'm very, very proud to be an army officer's wife. At the same time, yes, God has been very kind, and my son is joining army, so I wish both of them very good luck, kind of a thing. And you only give them a lot of support, and you give them a lot of confidence. Those days, 24 years didn't pass so quick and so nice. Lot of hardships, lot of hard time, but yes, they did pass, and they passed well. They passed very well.
We are looking forward to see both of them in uniform together on the passing out day.
Yes.
It will be a proud moment for the family, and I'm sure, it will be something. It is there for history, ma'am. Now the family
Yes.
history, if, even after ages, people will know that this,
Yes.
like Vijayan Thapar, we recall that he was a fourth generation officer. So
Right.
that legacy passing on is very important, ma'am. Because nowadays, army officers, they tell me that I ask a few Kargil heroes. They tell me, yaar, इनको interest नहीं है फौज में. I ask them, what are their sons doing? So 80% of them, they tell, नहीं यार, उसको doctor बनना है, उसको engineer बनना है. So it's very, heartening to hear that your son is joining in the footstep of his dad, and
Yeah.
he couldn't have been happier today, ma'am.
Yes.
And this is Julie Sharma, ma'am. I've introduced her to sir. So
Jai Hind, ma'am.
he's a
Hi, Jai
very
Hind ji.
he's a very active participant in all these activities, all these force activities we have. The
So
memorial,
lovely.
and she's a very Josh box, as they call it in the academies. So she's that kind of a girl who's there everywhere. Be it today, if suppose it is someone's martyrdom day or someone's birthday. So if possible, 80% of the time, it's if it's in her reach, she'll go there. She lives in
Oh,
Noida,
lovely.
so she braves all the traffic, goes all the way to Delhi, Gurgaon, and does all that, and
Oh, lovely.
and
Lovely.
manages to work at Amazon as well. So
Oh,
multitasking person with us.
lovely, lovely, lovely. It is nice. It's very heartening to see you people like that, Deepak and Juhi. People like you maybe can take the lessons to the crowd, to the mass, to the public, because these kind of people who have fought the country, they should not be forgotten. They should not be. Yes. So my last word to you all will be: you are doing a great job. And Deepak, you in person, we've already met. You're a wonderful, wonderful person. We've already met you. You're a one very kind soul on this earth. So keep doing the good work, because you are actually doing a very good work. You may not realize it, but it's a big thing for a family, to let the man be talked about and interviewed and things like that, because what the family has gone through all these years, very less people can understand that. So it's a commendable job for both Juhi and Deepak. Excellent.
Thank you so
Excellent.
much, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Our main aim is that, ma'am, even years down the line, if someone sees this video, and even if someone gets inspired, even one of them joins the forces, or even one of them becomes a good citizen, so that's a job done. That's the basic
Lovely.
objective of what we have begun this. And I can assure you, ma'am, it is all done very unconditionally, all of us. Like सबका एक वो कह सकते हैं कि we envy, we have a sweet envy for the men in uniform, because always when we see them, we think, yeah, why was I not there? Lack of drive from our end, lack of knowledge at that time कि क्या करना है. So this is
Yes.
a way of just giving it back, because that time, ma'am, I come from a total civil background. We did not know कि NDA कैसे जाना है, क्या जाना है, and social media was just coming up, so we did not have these many things. So now I'm
Right.
little gratified that God has given us this route to to be a part of the army, I can say, because
Correct.
army makes you feel a part of them. Because when you go to any unit, any cant, when they have never met you, they greet you so warmly. The martyr parents, the Veer families, I'm sure Julie went to Vijayan Thapar's place, so it is we feel a part of you, ma'am. We feel a part of the army, and that's the biggest biggest gift of our life.
Lovely. Very nice. So you're most welcome. Please come visit OTA.
Sure, ma'am.
You'll feel nice, because here it's very OG kind of environment. So both of you are most welcome, since we are
Thank you
here
so
for a
much.
little while, I think. So both of you are most welcome to come and join and see the place.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you so much. And it was a pleasure having you and sir sharing your experiences. And we look forward to many more, ma'am. Many more in the future.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
Thank
and
you,
God
Deepak.
bless.
And best wishes, ma'am, for that July 1st joining. Best wishes.
Thank you so much. We really require that, and thank you so much, and God bless both of you. God
Jai
bless
Hind,
both
ma'am.
of you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much,
Yeah,
sir.
thank you. Thank you, Julie. Thank you so much. Thank you, Deepak.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, Bangalore is just 7-hour drive, sir, from Chennai. Please do come.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Sure,
I'll be there. I'll meet you, and you must also come to Chennai.
sure,
Oh,
sir.
dear. Yeah.
Sure,
Yeah.
we'll make it. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, sir.
Thank you. Bye.